Thanks for joining us on the program. Relations between Cameroon and Nigeria is currently on an excellent note as the presidents of the two countries, Muhammadu Buhari and Paul Biya, are determined to work together for the economic and social development of the two countries. This was demonstrated during the visit of President Paul Biya to Nigeria recently. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari and his wife Aisha gave President Biya and his wife Chantal a colorful ceremonial welcome at Nigeria's Asarok Presidential Villa in Abuja with full military honors. Two cooperation agreements were signed by the two countries during that visit. Inclusive was a memorandum of understanding on the need to maintain water at the Benue Basin. On Diplomatic Ties today, we will be exploring prospects for media relations between Nigeria and Cameroon. My guest on the program today is the technical advisor of Cameroon Radio Television, Mr. Robert Ekukole. Stay on with Diplomatic Ties just after this time out. Welcome to Diplomatic Ties.
And we're doing our best to make it as convenient and easy as possible for prospective students.
What we can do is just support the efforts of West African countries to integrate, to organize a better regional, political and economic integration.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Diplomatic Ties, building friendship and enhancing oneness among nations. Watch Diplomatic Ties on NTA International.
Well, let me also welcome you in French, because I know that in Cameroon you have two lingua franca, English and French. So, bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup.
Have you had a very robust while in Nigeria?
Well, we've had what we expected. Before leaving Cameroon, we have a good idea of what Nigeria is, and from the time we touched foot in Abuja, I think the reception has been very warm, and we've gone through with all our discussions, and we're hoping to get very positive results by the time we wrap our bags to go back to Cameroon.
I can imagine anybody asking, why would Cameroon Direct TV choose to come to Nigeria for a collaboration, media-wise, at this time?
I must say it's coming even a little late, because we thought that for two close neighbors to stay in isolation for so long is not the best thing to do. So better late than never. So this is the first step we're taking, and we decided to take this initiative because, like I said, today the world is getting more and more into closets, into cartels, if you like, and Nigeria-Cameroon cannot afford to be left out in this melee. We are trying to work a good partnership with Nigerian radio authorities, Nigerian television authorities, so that our two peoples can enjoy what they have enjoyed hitherto in their history. Because if geography put us as two political entities, we believe that our history, our common history, I should say, should be a good pretext to be able to bring these two peoples together. And there's no other way of doing this than waxing a good partnership on radio and television that can, like I say, see our cross cultures exhibited in both media houses in Nigeria and in Cameroon.
So in specific terms, you came strictly for prospecting just with NTA, or you go beyond NTA to maybe the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria and the Voice of Nigeria and the News Agency of Nigeria?
I must say that each time you fly from Cameroon to Nigeria, it's a pleasure trip. Pleasure trip because you feel like you're going to your backyard. Nigeria is not different from Cameroon in many things. We share so many affinities. So I should say for a start that it is, first of all, a very pleasurable journey to leave Cameroon and come over to Nigeria. It's like going to your backyard. And I think the people are as welcoming as a Cameroonian. So that is the first pleasure we get. The second thing is, yes, we're coming for business. We thought that this is the right time to be able to get a good partnership with your radio and your television, so that these two media houses can cross share, if you like, their information and their programs so that our two peoples can begin to feel that their history is common. It's not only on paper, it's on the lives that are transposed in the two different media houses.
Okay, let me look at it from this direction. We know there's a multinational joint task force in place, almost more or less directed by Nigeria regarding the onslaught on insurgency. And Cameroon is a major player in this. Do you think if this collaboration works, it will in a way help to ease information flow between Cameroon and Nigeria?
I say that if your neighbor has fire in his house, it is of interest to you because you worry, you're afraid that the fire may spread over to your country, all right? So this insurgency, I think, has made Cameroon and Nigeria even come together closer. It's been going on for a number of years, and I think the joint force is, in military terms, but we believe that this can trickle down into other domains like the economy, the social, and the technological, if you like. So we are using this as a pretext to, if you like, solidify the age-old relations that Nigeria has always enjoyed with Cameroon. So it is not new. This is not new to us.
Within the electronic media of mass communication, where you have come to explore in Nigeria, you have a lot of platforms. The media, the journalism platform, programming, marketing, engineering, name it. Did you come for all, or you came for the ones in specific terms? Which one?
We would not look at just one. Okay. We are looking at it in a very holistic way. Okay, but for a start, we think something had to come first. And the first thing, of course, is content. They say in the media, content is key. And since content is king, we are coming to meet our Nigerian partners to see what they have in the basket. Do these programs correspond to what we would like to see on Cameroon Radio Television? Of course, like I said, we share so many affinities in the social domain, in the cultural domain, in the traditional domain. So all of this we would like to see in the kinds of stock programs or magazines that Nigerian authorities are ready to cede to Cameroon. So this is our first priority.
I know that there's a challenge in Cameroon, mostly at the southern flank of Cameroon. How well is the Cameroon Radio TV using the strengths and the reach it has? Because I know that a good chunk of some part of South Nigeria, southeast and some northern part of Nigeria, we even get signals from Cameroon Radio TV. How are you using it to reduce the friction in southern Cameroon?
I should say that, yes, parts of Nigeria feel Cameroonian, just like parts of Cameroon feel Nigerian. If you went to the southwest region, I'm sure that is the region you're talking about, or the northwest region, you see that not only the people interact, you have many Nigerians in those parts of Cameroon, but we also have inter or cross-border trade, which is very vibrant. And if there are disturbances or there's an unrest in that area, of course, it is immediately felt by Nigeria. We know how many Nigerians trade using that route. And if there is any disturbance or there is any insurrection in those areas, of course, it stalls and stems their progress as far as that part of the economy is concerned. So it's disturbing, and for some time now, the Cameroon government is facing it, and there's no other channel than trying to dialogue, trying to understand the other person and see how far we can go.
So would you say right now there's a current program running on Cameroon television that is tailored towards stemming this crisis?
It is a daily concern, I should tell you. It is a daily concern. We do not only have programs that address this issue. We have slogans that run on a daily basis. We have interviews, we have news feeds.
Can we hear one of the slogans?
One of the slogans, like, everything is based on peace. We are one. Let's work together. Cameroon is one and indivisible. I think that is the strongest slogan that we are carrying, because this country became independent in 1960, And our brothers of English expression joined the Union in 1961, and since then it's been one country. So that is the strongest message we are sending across, that be you French-speaking or English-speaking, we belong to one country called Cameroon. And I think that the media, radio, television, and more especially the public media has that civic responsibility, I should even say a moral obligation to carry this.
So let me give you this privilege now. Now, I know that the signals of this program will get to this area we are talking about.
Definitely, yes.
Now, let us hope and believe that a sizable number of southern Cameroonians and some...
No, don't call them southern Cameroonians. I prefer to call them Cameroonians from the southwest and the northwest regions.
Okay, beautiful. Yes. Southwest region, right?
Yes.
Of Cameroon.
And northwest region.
Okay, are watching us now.
Yes.
And you're trying to also sell a message using this medium. What would you be telling them now?
I'll tell them just one thing, that peace has no price. We've seen what unrest has done in our neighboring country. I wouldn't want to call the name. There are 1, 2, 3 neighboring countries that have had to face unrest. They've even had to have civil war, okay? And we know the devastation of this kind of unrest in a society. So we shouldn't get there. We shouldn't get there at all. And I believe that all hands are on deck to make sure that we don't get there. Because they say it is very easy to start a war, but very, very, very difficult to stop it. Okay. So we have not yet gotten to that all-out war, but we are not at peace, okay. I should say. We are not at peace. And like I said, civil society and government are doing everything on a daily basis to be able to conscientize the people so that we do not get to what we've seen in other countries.
In your exploration for this relationship, are you looking at joint production, current affairs productions, documentaries that will help, maybe call it ties that binds the two countries?
Yes, we want to pick it up from the artists. You know, artists are free spirits, and they do what normal politicians and technocrats may not venture to do. If you look at the music scene today, you have a lot of collaboration between Nigeria and Cameroon, all right? P Square, for example, is not a strange name. Davido is not a strange name. Yemi Alade is not strange. I know that she had a hit, yeah, she had a collaboration recently with Charlotte Dipanda, and they produced My Sister. We want to see this go a little further into the domain of the media, and that is why we are coming to talk to our Nigerian brothers and sisters, that we need to come together. So that joint venture you are referring to, I think is possible, but we must have a common platform that we agree on so that this can become a reality. Because do not forget that we are the same people, even if we've been separated by geography, like I said. Your films are very well appreciated in Cameroon simply because Cameroonians look at the films and see themselves in those films.
Just like your Makosa is
right.
very common in Nigeria.
Exactly. The culture is the same, the traditions are the same. If a girl had to go get married tomorrow in Nigeria, I don't think it's so different from what you see in Cameroon. Of course, we've learned to dish out money like we see Nigerians do. This is part of trans-border culture that we share. And I think when you have this cross-pollination, it's very good for a society or for societies to develop parallelly, yes, but also together.
Okay, sometime in Addis Ababa at the African Union headquarters, we had sessions, sideline meetings, and we had then Commissioner for Security and Peace, or Peace and Security Commission, talk about plans to stem up and structure the aviation industry in Africa, telecom, all that. They never talked about media. What's your opinion if I ask you in terms of having a central structure media-wise?
Yes, I believe that media and media-related issues are still an afterthought on the African continent. When you go to big fora and you go to big conferences that discuss the destiny of the African continent, you hardly hear them discuss what to us is crucial, the media. So I believe they should be able to do so. we're not surprised that much of what filters to the continent comes from the Western world. And most of the time, you know, like I do, that it's always the negative part of Africa that is being portrayed, the sensational part of Africa that is being portrayed. And I believe that this happens because Africa and its media are not strong enough to be able to produce and share on a global basis what is the true picture of Africa. And until we get to that point, we will still be enslaved to that kind of transfer of information, where the West, with a more powerful and more englobing media prowess, gives to Africa and the world what they perceive as the picture of Africa. Okay. So this is what we have to fight, and until our politicians and decision makers realize that the weakness of Africa lies in the weakness of its media, if they realize that, then I believe we'll become more sensitive to what to us are challenges along the world.
Sometime as a young reporter, I did a report for the network of the NTA on transborder relations, and that report took me to Mfum. Mfum is the border between Nigeria and Cameroon from the central flank of Cross River.
There are many other borders.
And I got to a place called Ekukole.
That's right.
At Ekukole, Nigerian currency was exchanged freely, and the Cameroon currency was actually exchanged freely. And you could find that. So do you see that kind of unfettered relationship if this, your prospecting for media relations between Cameroon and Nigeria works out? Do you see that kind of seamless relationship?
I see it has been on for a while.
Yeah.
All we just need to do is, in certain sectors, formalize it. All right? You just talked of Ekukole.
Ekukole, yeah.
There are many other borders.
Yeah.
There's Amchide, for example, where there's just a little line that separates Nigeria from Cameroon. There are many other crossings that you have. And I believe that in a very informal way, our peoples go across the borders, and they even go further. Nigerians come and take their wives from Cameroon, just like Cameroonians come and take wives from Nigeria. So I believe that this has been going on for a very long time. But we need, in certain domains, like I said, to formalize our certain relationships or partnerships.
Let me go into content now. If you look at soft power in the world, Hollywood, Bollywood, and indeed Nollywood, Nigeria. Nollywood is one of Nigeria's soft power. We have used it to permeate so many places in the world. And is it possible that you'll be willing to join forces with Nigeria to maybe come up with a beautiful production that will be available for content on Nigerian TV and Cameroon TV radio to build Nollywood?
I think you're late. We've had this collaboration before.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we have some of your stars that feature in Cameroonian films. I'll give you a name, Zach Oji, for example. Zach Oji is a name that is known in Cameroon because Zach Oji has featured in many films in Cameroon. There are many Cameroonians too who have featured in films in Nigeria. So what we want to see is a good, if you like, osmosis between the Nigerian film industry and the Cameroonian film industry. Because if we are getting more and more vibrant as far as the cinematographic industry is concerned, it is thanks to our big neighbor, Nigeria. Most of our filmmakers have seen what Nigeria has been doing, and I think this has spurred them. And it's a big inspiration for that industry. That's why it's growing in leaps and bounds.
So do you have a code name for it now?
We have, it's Collywood.
Collywood, okay.
Yes, Collywood has come into being, and I've seen a number of films that they have produced. Yes, many of them go the Nigerian stream. Many of them want to go the way Nigeria is going. This is normal when you have a big and productive neighbor like Nigeria. So we believe that what has made your film industry blossom, I think, would also make that same genius germinate in Cameroon. It is already there. It just needs more inputs for it to be able to get to the level of Nigerian films.
There are a lot of similarities between Cameroon and Nigeria. The major difference is that you have two lingua franca, English and French. But in terms of religion, ethnic
divides.
or we are just very, very similar.
Yes.
If this is built up, how can it further cement it?
I would say that before now, many nationals on both sides of the aisle were worried because of the linguistic factor. Many Nigerians are worried that they can't really do effective business with Cameroon because we have French, right? And I've always thrown back the question to Nigeria. How come your films go through the African market when it's only in English? Nigeria is one of the most monolingual countries on the continent. They speak only English. Yet their films have gone as far as Dakar. That is wholly French speaking, right? So I believe that we are in a domain that knows no language. We understood Chinese films in the 70s, whereas those films had dialogue in Chinese, right? So we believe it's the construction that appeals to whoever is watching. And when it comes to that kind of way of proceeding, I believe that our affinities will make us understand those films much better than anybody else. Who doesn't know Ukwa and his fun? Who doesn't know Patience Ozukwo? Who doesn't know Zach Oji? And a list of others. I believe these are names that come into the household simply because in Cameroon, they look at Zach Oji as a Cameroonian. In fact, I even hear he studied in Cameroon.
Really?
Okay. They look at Patience Ozukwo as a household name in Cameroon. All right. This is simply because we share, like you've said, so many things in common.
The Southwest Cameroonians are discriminated in Cameroon. Is it true?
I come from that part of Cameroon. I'm technical advisor #1 at the Cameroon Radio Television. I've worked there for near 30 years. There are many other of my compatriots who are like me. So I don't think that my Southwestness has stopped me from achieving what I had to achieve in life, or from getting to the point where I had to get to in life. I believe in destiny. And I don't think that the fact that you come from the southwest region of Cameroon or from the northwest region of Cameroon stops you from progressing or from making the life that you want to make. Okay. I own a home. And I own a home not in my southwest of my birth. I own a home in Yaoundé, which is in, if you like, the French-speaking part of Cameroon. Okay. So what would you say? I have to carry my house from Yaoundé to the southwest region because we're discriminated upon? I don't think so. If we were discriminated upon, then I don't think that I'd have been able to buy land from the indigenous population of Yaoundé that is purely francophone. They would never have sold land to me, the English-speaking Cameroonian. Okay. So it's just to tell you that we are one country, even if language has made us a little different. Okay. But I also think that the fact that we speak two different languages should be the source of our wealth. And well, Cameroon is
finally,
that.
Back to the crux of the program, because we need to connect to disconnect and disconnect to connect. Mm-hmm. Exploring media relations between Nigeria and Cameroon, and you're here, and I want to look at what's your projection like in the next 2 years if this eventually takes off?
If the event eventually takes off, in the next 2 years, we will not get the ECOWAS summit in Abuja come to Cameroon like a surprise, because we would have had a focal point from NTA that feeds us with that kind of information as it comes in. We will not get perishable news because we are not in touch with Nigeria. Just like Nigerians will not get perishable news from Cameroon because they are not in touch. So this is what we want to see. We want to make sure that instantaneously we get news feeds from Nigeria flow into our newscasts, just like we want fresh news from Cameroon flow into the Nigerian newscasts. So that at every given time, and on a daily basis if possible, Nigerians get the heartbeat of Cameroon through the news, just like we get the heartbeat of Nigeria through the news feeds that you send to us. And, of course, we want to see stock programs in our library come from Nigeria. Because, like I say, we believe that much of your documentaries, much of your drama is appreciated around the world. And we of Cameroon, who are so close to Nigeria, should, like I say, enjoy the luxury of proximity.
Mr. Robert Ekukole, it was nice talking with you on Diplomatic Ties.
It's a pleasure for me, and I hope
And we hope truly that the vision you have, which is on a mission, will really come to pass.
It's our wish.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
That's it on the program. My guest, Mr. Robert Ekukole, technical advisor, Cameroon Radio TV, has really updated us on plans to really ensure that there's a seamless content flow between Cameroon and Nigeria in a matter of maybe months or years, depending on how the flow goes. Well, that's that on Diplomatic Ties today, and always be guest on the program. Bye-bye.